is going on? What the fuck is going on? This is crazy. What's up, everybody? Jamie, that's me here. Listen, I really had no intentions on going live or doing anything right today. Um, but listen, I was already working on some other stuff, and then when I finally got a chance to like wind down and chill out, I pressed play on what I was missing earlier, which was the CNN. Uh, it really wasn't CNN. I'm sorry. I saw it from CNN, but I did not finish it, which is why we're here today. Okay. So I was pressing play on the clip of Mr. Man having a sit down with the NABJ. Okay. The journalist. Okay. And girl, the first 3 minutes, I said, oh, no. Fuck no, okay? Is what it gave. I said, I cannot watch this by myself. I cannot watch this by myself. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why I'm here, okay? We are here. I'm not gonna blow it up on the screen because YouTube be acting okay. But we are going to get into it because I need y'all to watch this with me. Now, I did not, like I said, looked like it happened earlier at around 2 o'clock or so. I'm late to the party, girl. I'm super late. I had some other stuff going on. Okay, so I'm just now arriving here. I got into the first 3 minutes and I could not take it. Okay. Now I don't know if the full 30-some minutes is gonna be a fool. I feel like it is. I feel like it is, bro. I feel like it is. Okay. Matter of fact, while we at it, before we get into this video, while we're waiting for more people to come on into the room, give me one second. Let me go ahead and say this, okay? So yesterday, I did get a chance to check out Kamala Harris's video. I wanted to talk about, I'm sorry, her speech that she did here in Atlanta. I wanted to talk about it more in detail because I wanted to get a list of all of the policies and things that she said that she was going to, work on. Not so much as policies, but the things that she wants to attack should she be elected as a president or whatnot. So I got a chance to check that out. We see Quavo came out there looking unprofessional as fuck. In my personal, I feel like they probably told him at the last minute, hey, we need you to come out and say a few words, okay? Don't know why they chose Quavo. It is what it is, okay? They chose Megan Thee Stallion to come out and to perform. I liked her outfit. I thought it was super cute along with the other ladies that she had that were dressed up or whatnot. More people, I think the only problem I probably had was I felt like they made her makeup lighter than her actual complexion. I'm like, why y'all got her makeup like that? But anywho, whatever. Aside from that, I thought Megan did a good job at performing. I've been hearing that it's been a lot of discourse, a lot of conversation around her performing. Some people felt like it was ghetto, they just felt like it was really unprofessional. She shouldn't have been performing. She was shaking, she was twerking, she was this, she was that. I'm saying, I don't give a fuck. Hello, hi, are you there? Me, Jamie, I don't give a damn what she was over there doing. That's what they wanted. They knew what they wanted and what they were getting into when they decided to book Miss Megan Thee Stallion. You got what it is that you wanted, okay? Well, you ain't get the full experience because she wasn't really bent over, twerking, doing all of that. But, she gave you a little taste without giving you a little too much in my personal, okay? I will say this. I don't care about it appearing to be ghetto, in my opinion, because what is ghetto is having a felon being able to run as a president when you have many other felons that can't even vote. Ghetto. Hello? Did you not realize that this election, everything about it has been ghetto? Okay? So me critiquing and complaining about what Miss Megan is, I don't care. Okay. Now, if there was something, I would say if you're coming to Atlanta, then you could have possibly gotten an Atlanta rapper, which could have been Lotto. You know what I'm saying? Lotto could have performed Big Energy. That is what we're going to need to get people to the polls. She could have did Sunday service, what she says, 20 black Suburbans, we pull up like Sunday service. That is what it's giving when Kamala comes to town. It's giving 20 black Suburbans. You feel what I'm saying? She could have finessed that song. She could have did Sunshine on Me. There were different songs that she could have did that could have been finessed, in my opinion. If people felt like, it needed to be a certain way, that she could have finessed to fit, this moment. Okay. And that's that. Okay. So if there was anything, that's what I would say. I would have suggested an Atlanta rapper. Let it be Lotto. She could have performed, you know, since Megan did about 4 songs, she could have performed like 3. And, you know, those 3 that I mentioned, Big Energy, Sunday Service, and Sunshine on Me. And they probably could have, you know, sprinkled something else in there. But all in all, they chose Megan. I really don't care. I really don't. I'm like, y'all, it's so many other things we could be complaining about that what we talking about. We focused on that. Girl, she came in, she got her check, she did her job, okay? Then the people wanted to say something about Kamala and how she was acting, and I don't know if they were saying she was acting ghetto herself or too black or something they said, and I'm like, yo, this lady probably feel like she at home. Y'all do know she went to a HBCU, right? You do know she's a part of a black sorority, right? She probably felt like she was at home. You know, it probably was real comfortable for her. All these people came out to see her. She was doing her thing. It is what it is. I have no gripes about it, especially when Trump, he has a whole different set of ghetto. You know what I'm saying? It'd be funny because when it comes to black folks, y'all like to label things as ghetto, but when it comes to white folks, what do you label that as? Is that labeled as ghetto? So it wasn't ghetto for Hulk Hogan to get his ass up there and split up a shirt? Like, are y'all making sense? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, he has his whole ghetto antics as well. Kamala done got hers. And listen, it's giving say it to my face. Okay? That's what it's giving. Y'all been having a whole lot to say about me. Say it to my face and then walk it like you talking. Is what we want you to do here in America on today. Okay? Meet me on the stage to debate. Okay? I bet you won't do me like you did them journalists. You say, what? I'm speaking. I'm speaking, former president. I'm speaking, but I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Okay? I'm speaking. Hello? So that's the energy that it was giving. All right? Or would be giving. So yeah, I mean, I think it did well. I think it did well. Had a lot of people out there. Now the audio was the problem for me, because at some points you couldn't hear nothing, but then at some points the crowd was too loud and I could barely hear Kamala. So I'm like, what the fuck is, it's giving weird. Something's off. And I was flipping through different channels trying to find somebody, and everybody's volume was like this. So I had to go back and watch it on. I think it was like a Fox station or whatever. Was it Fox? No. I'm sorry. I went to Kamala's YouTube channel, and that's where I ended up watching it. And it's still, they had the best audio, but the audio still wasn't that great. So I was like, whatever, girl, we're going to get through it. Somebody going to upload it. I'll be able to re-listen to it and go from there. Okay. So, that's that. You know what I'm saying, girl? I don't care. Not I won't make it through the first 20 minutes, but we gonna try. It's gonna try, okay? I just wanted to give y'all my quick rundown about, you know, Kamala's thing while we were waiting for more people to come on in. And now I want us to get into this right here, because I really could not take the first few minutes. So let's just get this started, all right? Make sure you guys are coming into the video. You are supporting the channel by liking the video. Shout out to the 200 plus people we do have here. Thank you guys so much for being here. So let's get into it.
Using the hashtag
NABJ. Let me make sure I got my, do I have my audio right? Because let me see. Give me 1 second. Oh, I got it down. That's why, haha. Here we go.
A fact check. Using the hashtag NABJ fact check. Again, the hashtag is NABJ fact check. We have a lot to get to, and we do not want to waste any time. So let's bring out the former president of the United States, the Republican.
Pause. I'm sorry, y'all. I need to pull up this NABJ fact check, because I do want to see how people responded to this, if there is indeed. Child, they said, damn, a NABJ fact check. Everybody just been doing NABJ 24. Okay, so we'll get that later then. All right, let's hop back in. Let's hop right on back in.
Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump.
Girl. Girl, nobody was clapping when he first came out. Oh my God. Somebody tried to say, woo-hoo.
Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time.
An hour?
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population.
Girl, he sound like the same thing he was saying. I love the Christians. I'm not Christian. I love the blacks, but I'm not black. But you guys have to get out and vote because you guys just don't vote. You don't vote. You guys have to come out the house. You have to go vote. That, he sound like the same speech he gave with the Christians, just a little bit, because he's over here being more disrespectful to these ladies. First of all, didn't the girl shake his damn hand before he even sat down? Didn't she shake the man's hand? So I guess he wanted her to get on the mic and be on some, well, sir, how are you? How are you doing today? We appreciate you so much for being here with us. Yes, so we want to get into the question. Like, what the fuck did you want her to say? Like, she already shook your hand. Sit your ass down. You here to try and get our votes. And then you want to come up here and sit your ass on this stage and play in somebody's face? It's giving face? You want to do face? Girl, that's messy as hell. And then he started off right out the gate deflecting, because the first thing, I can't remember what the first thing was that she said to him. She started pretty much talking about, hold on, I'm gonna have to go back and just hear her again, where she was pretty much calling him out about some of the things that he said. And then she fact checked and told him that you've said some things about certain people and that's not even true. So he already knew what he was finna be in for. So he felt like right out the gate, he need to go ahead and, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead. Let me go ahead and clock her because she thinks she's finna get me and she not finna get me. Okay?
Of this country, including employment,
Who the fuck is clapping? Who the fuck is clapping, bro? Who the fuck is clapping? And you know, again, just because we all black does not mean we all stand on the same side. Like I told y'all the other day, I know a lot of people were upset about Trump coming over to NABJ, but honestly, as I told y'all, a lot of those people are not Democrat. You know what I'm saying? They are Republicans, or they more so lean towards whatever his policies are, whether they're, you know, independent and they just lean towards Republican or whatever the case is. So I do expect there to be some people there in support. But right now in this moment, after he just kind of like, you know, he done opened up, he done pulled out the pew. Girl, don't be up there clapping.
Including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs.
What program is
so
the
much,
best?
and I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and you know,
These
and I
are
say
things
this,
I'm gonna have to go look up.
Historically, black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further.
If I'm honest, I'm surprised that she waited so long to jump in and cut his ass off, in all honesty. But then at the same time, I'm glad that she did wait, because it only showed more of himself as he's talking.
I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala,
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I was told my opponent was going to
lying.
be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense, and then you said you can't do it with Zoom. Well, you know, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand.
Didn't they tell her? Because she was trying to do it virtually, and they told her no. They told her no. When he says that he was told this, I was thinking in my head that he may have been told a while back when he said Joe Biden or her. So it sounds like this may have already been in the works for him to be on this platform. But I don't know if Biden was already planning on being there or if they just decided to reach out to Kamala once she became the new nominee. But I'm like, really? You were told that she was going to be there, sir? You don't even want to see her on the stage to debate her. So you want to see her at this over here at this? What interesting.
I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was
Mr. President,
wrong.
I would love
I think
if you
it's
can
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
on your rhetoric.
question. I have answered the question. I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
Oh, I know that's right. Hey, you better clock it, ma'am. You better clock it. The president that signed the Voting Rights Act. I know that's right. You better clock it.
Period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work.
Baby, this is how a lot of white directors, a lot of white people in higher positions, especially in corporate, this how they be talking to folks too.
Such a hostile manner. I think it's a disgrace. Let
me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
Give me
a definition then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition of
Sir,
that.
I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define it for me if you will.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So
what will make it a little different?
I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
To turn black.
So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She is always.
Is you coming to a National Association of Black Journalists and insulting a woman of color for me? For me. And you know what's so funny? A lot of people used to say, I got Indian in my family, I got Cherokee in my family, I woot the woot the woot. And people be teetering the lines of saying that Indians are also black. And then them same folks come back and be like, she ain't black. She's not black. Bitch, let me tell you something. And this is from Jami. I don't give a fuck. I do not care if she was purple and green, bitch. Do you understand? I don't give a fuck if she was a peacock. Hear me out. I'm still going with the peacock, bitch. It does not matter to me. Okay? I tell you one thing. She got more color than what he got. Hello?
You know what?
As a black woman,
I respect
and the
either
gag
one.
is, that is not the reason why I'm voting for her. And you know what's so funny? A lot of people were sitting up here saying, I don't vote for her because she's black. She's not even black. Don't vote for her because she's black. She's not even black. But that's what a lot of white folks have done, is voted, or when he's running right now, they're about to vote for him because he's white. Okay? That's just what they do. They're not finna vote for the black one. A lot of them are voting for that. But shout out to the people down in Florida, honey, because the people down in Florida, them white folks that came out down there, what y'all call it, the village, they definitely showed up, honey. So a lot of the white people is rolling over to the side of Miss Kamala, honey. But there are a lot of people that's going to be voting for Trump because he is white. So don't tell people that they can't vote for somebody because they black. If that's what they want to do, they're going to do that anyway because that's just how they is. Okay? Now, it will behoove you to learn more about what they stand for and stuff, and then make your decision. But y'all gonna do what y'all want to do anyway. But I'm damn sure not voting for him.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't. because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she...
I see somebody asking in the comments about what Kamala's policies are. That is what I have to go back and get, because when I watched her, that's what I was saying earlier when I first started, she listed a few things that she wants to work on or bring to the front if she does become president. So I want to get that. But also, I don't believe it's been laid out just yet exactly what her policies are until she's going to have that Democratic convention. So when that happens in August, I think we'll learn more about what her policies are. But she did mention a few things last night at the Atlanta one. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be extremely different from whatever Biden's were. But it sounded like a little bit, some of it, what she said last night. But I wanted to go back and get a list because my plan was to like do a whole nother video with you guys going through that.
Somebody should look into that too when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
really don't
have said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length, and we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that interview.
You told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today.
He was so disrespectful to the first girl.
On us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we are divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr.
they're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people. I have a feeling it's much more than that. And everybody's been seeing what's happened. The first group of people, the black population, is affected most by that. And Kamala is allowing it to happen. She's the border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border czar like this. She's never even essentially been. She said she was there once.
Well, wasn't he the one that was supposed to build the wall, and he was so adamant about building it? What happened there?
But not the right part of the border.
But y'all trying to say that she's the worst one, but weren't you supposed to, you kept talking about the wall you was going to put up. So what ended up happening with that situation?
So she was a border czar. She's done a horrible job. These people are coming into our country and they're taking black jobs.
We can't tell that they're taking black jobs because a lot of y'all are choosing to hire them under the table. I'll say a lot of companies are hiring them under the table. They're going to do some of the work that other folks don't want to do. So are they taking black jobs? Really? I feel like you over there focused on the people coming into this country when you need to be focused on these corporations that's constantly laying people off left and damn right. Like in the masses, like over hundreds of people are being laid off from the company. What about, are there any other jobs for those people to take? Are there any other opportunities? Because I'm sure a lot of the people coming from over the border can't qualify for those jobs that's over there in corporate, in that arena. What about those jobs?
And Hispanic jobs, and frankly, they're taking union jobs. Unions are being very badly affected by all of the millions of people that are pouring into our country. And one thing, as we discussed, many of these people are coming in from mental institutions, from prisons, from jails. They're gang members in other countries. Other countries are setting loose their prisoners. They're opening up their prisons and their mental institutions, and they're taking their bad people, drug dealers, gang members, and they're bringing them into the United States. And by the way, their crime rate is going down, and our crime rate is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President, I want to get into how you address some of the issues with black communities. And I say that plural because we live in communities of color that are different. We're not all the same. We don't vote the same. We don't think the same.
True.
It's not monolithic. So as you come here today, I want to talk about something that bursts. And this is the weight of the inflation on this country right now. The nonprofit Money Management International recently released data from its mid-year analysis that we have found a 52% rise in people who are seeking counseling for being in credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that off. The credit counseling nonprofit MMI, as I said, is saying now that they've seen surges that they haven't seen since we were in a pandemic of people in financial trouble. Much of that falls on the shoulders of single moms, single black moms, when you look statistically.
Yeah.
How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, you know, this woman was unable to get the right equipment. But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it. The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation is a disaster in our country. Inflation is a country buster. It breaks every country. And we had, in my opinion, the worst inflation we've had. They say it's 58 years, but I think it's much more than that. It's been devastating. And if you just take a look at a lot of things they don't include, like interest rates. Interest rates went from 2.4% to 10%, and you can't get the money.
Sir, what
people
are you going
can't
to
buy
do?
houses. They no longer have the American dream. Young people, young black people, they don't have the American dream anymore. They can't buy a house. They can't borrow the money because of the cost of the money. They can't buy because of the cost of housing, because of the cost to build it, because of inflation. Inflation is a disaster, and it's destroying our country. And it's destroying the black community probably as much or more than any.
What's your plan?
Right.
You know what we have to do? We have to bring down the cost of energy, and that's going to bring down the cost of inflation. This was all started with a bad energy policy by Joe Biden. By the way, just if I might.
Bring down the cost of energy.
I was running against a man named Biden. You probably saw that. And he was losing very badly in the polls, and then he had a rather bad debate. I would say it was a bad debate. I would say it was one of the worst debates in history, and his poll numbers crashed.
What the fuck?
And instead of saying,
sir,
you know, let's keep going.
Bro, I couldn't. Thank you, Father. You have the right ones, baby. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You got the right ones up there, because what the hell is we talking about, honey bun, Bookie butt? I'm confused on how, and I'm for real. I'm gonna have to look this up for real, because I'm so lost. I'm not even gonna hold y'all, okay? I don't understand. Bringing down the cost of energy is supposed to what? Stop inflation? In what way is that supposed to happen? I gotta look that. Like, is that what are you talking about? And then he's going into talking about what is Joe Biden and Poe? No, what the fuck is going on?
And it's destroying the black community probably as much or more.
So what do you do?
Than any.
What's your plan?
You know what we have to do? We have to bring down the cost of energy, and that's going to bring down the cost of inflation. This was all started with a bad energy policy by Joe Biden. By the way, just
bad energy. I don't believe. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't support that. I do not believe. Let me tell you something. I feel like it has everything to do with that pandemic and them giving out that money. All the people that's like, I got me a stimmy. That stimmy, a little stimmy. I got me a little stimmy. Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with that, but that's just my personal, okay? Because, yeah, y'all sent out a lot of money. Y'all had PPP loans. That's why y'all going after people now, trying to make sure that y'all get that money back and stuff. So I think we are dealing with now what you put us through during your term. Remember, I'll never forget, I knew about C-19 in 2019. Hello? In 2019, I ended up getting it in January and didn't know what the hell it was. I thought it was the flu. They said that I had the flu at the doctor's office. Months later, I look at my chart and I see that, no, I was negative for the flu. It was because they didn't know what the fuck it was. Okay, so you already knew about this. You knew about this before it even came over here. Shout out to Lovely T, because I remember she was doing videos about this back in 2019 about what was happening over there in China. And she was saying that it was on its way over here. She wasn't lying. When you got people traveling abroad in and out of America so much, that is exactly what ended up happening. Okay, you knew about this, but you didn't do anything about it. Didn't you tell the people also to drink bleach? Did he say that? Did he tell the people to drink bleach or something like that? Back then, wasn't that you? Wasn't that you that said that? When you also the person that saw how the jobs and stuff started closing down? And then when the people was trying to get their checks or whatever it was they was trying to get, you was sitting up there holding them up because you wanted your signature to be on them? Okay, like, what? Nah, we dealing with what we got going on because of your ass. Period. Okay? And during that time, what ended up happening? All these corporations started running around and started buying up all these fucking houses, making the housing market look like it's actually doing something when it really fucking ain't. And y'all have these houses sitting. I think they said the last report I had saw, and this was like maybe like a few months ago, I think there are up to maybe 3 corporations that have over 19,000 properties in Georgia just sitting. Just sitting. They say they for lease, but they just sitting. And I remember, maybe it was like 2022 when I was like looking around for homes and stuff. I saw that a lot of them were abandoned. A lot of those homes that they had listed for lease were abandoned. And really what people was doing was pocketing application fees. For real. That's all they was doing. And then so many people between 2020 and 2022 was just jumping ship, moving also, because there were some people that were moving without even visiting the property. They were just up and just moving. Okay, they see a few pictures, thought it looked nice and moved. And I remember it was this one lady on TikTok that talked about it. I think she was with a company, either Progressive or Invitation Home. Progress or Invitation Homes. I know the news mentioned them both as companies that have bought homes that are a part of that 19,000 that are just sitting. But at one point she had just moved. I think she moved during the pandemic, and she just didn't look at the house and then saw pictures that jumped and moved. And it was the worst experience of her life. She started experiencing different things in the home, and they were not sending nobody out to take care of the property. Yikes. Okay, so yeah, some of this on you, fam, but you the best one. You're the best one.
I was running against a man named Biden. You probably saw that. And he was losing very badly in the polls, and then he had a rather bad debate. I would say it was a bad debate. I would say it was one of the worst debates in history. And his poll numbers crashed. And instead of saying, let's keep going and maybe something happens the other way, they said, oh, we're going to replace him. Let's just replace him. That's like you're in a fight, a prize fighter's in a fight. He's not doing well. You say, let's bring in another fighter. So our whole campaign was steered toward him.
Sorry. I don't know what happened.
And now we have to steer toward him. But
second.
Ultimately,
okay, let's see if it's back.
Get rid of oil. They want to get rid of losing very
go back a little bit
because of the cost of the money. They can't buy it because of the cost of housing, because of the cost to build it, because of inflation. Inflation is a disaster, and it's destroying our country, and it's destroying the black community probably as much or more than any other.
What's your plan?
You know what we have to do? We have to bring down the cost of energy, and that's going to bring down the cost of inflation. This was all started with a bad energy policy by Joe Biden. By the way, just if I might, I was running against a man named Biden. You probably saw that. And he was losing very badly in the polls. And then he had a rather bad debate. I would say it was a bad debate. I would say it was one of the worst debates in history. And his poll numbers crashed. And instead of saying, let's keep going and maybe something happens the other way, they said, oh, we're going to replace him. Let's just replace him. That's like you're in a fight, a prize fighter's in a fight. He's not doing well. You say, let's bring in another fighter. So our whole campaign was steered toward him, and now we have to steer toward him. But ultimately, it's the same because they have bad policy. They have policies of open borders, unbelievable open borders, horrible energy policies. They want to get rid of, as you say, gasoline in cars. They want to get rid of oil. They want to get rid of efficient efficient heating.
Mr. President.
Environmentally, what they're doing is killing our country. They're absolutely destroying our country. But the inflation is the thing that's hurting the black worker, the black population, and every other population within our country. Inflation is the worst it's been, I think, in over 100 years. And they'll fact check it. They'll say it's only 58. Whatever it may be, they don't add all the numbers. They don't add the really bad numbers, and you can check that too. But inflation, Harris, is absolutely destroying this country and the people in our country. Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
President, can I ask you another question?
Yes.
And it's
No,
also-
because I got something I need to say. Sir, that's what she just told you, sir. I could have sworn she was asking you what you were going to do about it, and you said that you was going to bring down the cost of energy. You just repeated what she said, and you went on a rant. Is he stable? Y'all spend all that time talking about Biden not being stable. Is he stable?
impacting Black Americans.
And that's very clear now. Good.
I'm sorry?
It's very clear. I hear you.
Okay. So Sonia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You've said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking
You don't
with the
know
water?
the exact
right?
case?
Yeah, well, police unions are not backing this person
Okay,
either.
okay.
But
And
again, why would...
Are they going to be charging the officer? I guess they're charging the
That's
officer.
what she just
So
said.
why should
sir.
he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens. I'm talking about people that are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 117 shootings and 17 deaths.
Didn't that happen in Chicago, right?
Nobody
or
wants
Illinois,
that.
I
We
thought?
need to have our police officers have the
Around that
respect
time.
and dignity back. In this particular case, I saw something that didn't look good to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
So can you get a little more specific back to the immunity question? Who would make those
Well, right now,
distinctions?
for the most part, people are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments. But I'm saying if I felt, or if a group of people would feel that somebody was being unfairly prosecuted because the person did a good job maybe with crime, or made a mistake, an innocent mistake. There's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody made an innocent mistake, I would want to help that person.
What would those exceptions be? What would determine
You
an
go
innocent
after
mistake?
somebody and it's a very close call and it's very dangerous. And you know, they have the policeman's life and woman
like, y'all,
is a very
I don't know
difficult thing.
who the fuck said I wouldn't be able to get through the first 20, but this right here about to make me cut it off. For real. For real. Because, you know, the first excuse was, he got a gun, they got a gun, they got a gun. Whole time it's a cell phone. Whole time they not even grabbing it, they grabbing something else. So then now, oh, thank y'all for correcting me. It was Bloomfield, not Chicago. But I figured it was Illinois. Thank you. But then he goes on to say if it was an honest mistake, and it's like, no, that's not. I see what he is trying to say. Like, it depends on the situation. It's a case-by-case situation. I see what he's trying to say, but I don't even think that you should try to help them when it's an honest mistake. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I guess it would be case by case, but I feel like that's going to be the new excuse, right? It's an honest, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I didn't mean to. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I thought that he was pulling out I thought da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you're going to have to do something with them folks because they just, no, that's not. I
Sometimes you have less than a second to make a, life and death
Springfield
decision. And sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
So I want to follow up really quickly.
So are you saying it was a mistake that he shot him?
I find it interesting because you do talk about reining in prosecutors, especially when it comes to prosecutors that are prosecuting you. Why doesn't that skepticism apply to law enforcement?
Well, I've been prosecuted because I'm a political opponent of two people that have weaponized our justice system. I've been prosecuted. I just won the big case in Florida. Everyone said that was the biggest case. That was the most difficult case. And I just won it. Now, Biden has a similar case, except much worse. I was protected under the Presidential Records Act. Biden wasn't, because he wasn't president at the time. And he had 50 years worth of documents. And they ruled that he was incompetent, and therefore he shouldn't stand trial. And I said, isn't that something? He's incompetent, and he can't stand trial, and yet he can be president. Isn't that nice?
Mr. President,
but they released him on the basis that he was incompetent. They said he had no memory, and he was a nice old guy, but he had no memory, and therefore we're not going to prosecute him. I won the case, and it got very little publicity. I didn't notice ABC doing any publicity on it, George.
We covered you extensively, sir. I'd love to move over on to different topics.
Girl, this man is over here cutting up in the worst way, okay? Him trying to defend why he was not prosecuted or whatever the situation is, okay? And then he's saying that they weaponized it. I'm like, well, I guess they weaponized it the same way that it was weaponized with Bill Clinton. He committed whatever crimes all those decades ago. He got to do the time. He did the time. He may be out, but he had to do a piece at a time. Hello? Okay, so same thing should have happened with you.
How did you do any publicity on it at all? I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent.
I don't think this is going to help him at all.
I have another one where I have a hostile judge.
We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different topics.
No, excuse you. You're the one that held me up for 35 minutes.
No,
just
he
so you
did.
understand.
If we can move on now to the state of the race, sir, I want to get back to the campaign. Senator J.D. Vance is your running mate. He's had a lot of controversy lately, and I want to read you a few things that he has said in the past. He said the Democrats running the country are a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. He's not talking here about how great it is to be a parent. He's attacking what he says are the choices people are making to not have children. Did you know that he had these views about people who do not have children before you picked him to be your running mate, and do you agree with him?
No, I know this. He is very family-oriented, and he thinks family is a great thing.
He's a walking
that doesn't mean he
contradiction, such
thinks
as
that
yourself.
if you don't have a family, it's not. I know people with families. I know people with great families. I know people with very troubled families. And I also know people with no families. They didn't meet the right person. Things happen. You go through life, you don't meet the right person.
But he's not just talking about families here.
And
he also
some of
says
those
that people that don't have children should get less votes than those that do.
I'm just speaking for myself.
Is that your campaign
I think
position?
I'm speaking for him, too. He strongly believes in family. But I know people with great families. I know people with not great families that don't have a family. And the people without the family are far better. They're superior in many cases, okay? He's not saying they're not. What he's saying is that he thinks the family experience is a very important thing. It's a very good thing. But that doesn't mean that if you grow up and you grow older and you don't meet somebody that would be wonderful to meet and would have been good, that that's a bad thing. He's not saying that. My interpretation, you'll have to ask him, actually, but my interpretation is he's strongly family-oriented, but that doesn't mean if you don't have a family, there's something wrong with it.
Just one last point, and then we'll move on. Just one of the bedrock principles of American life is one person, one vote. Senator J.D. Vance has suggested that someone who has children should have more votes than a person who does not have children. I just want to be clear here. Is that the position of your campaign?
Well, no, but it's not something I have ever heard before. I can tell you this. Right now you have illegal aliens coming into our country, many from prisons and many from mental institutions, and they want to give them votes. I don't think they should have votes. They came into our country illegally, and they're taking the vote away from all of the people in this room that have been here a long time, that have worked hard, that in many cases, and you'll see this happening, if I'm not elected, you're going to see it happening. If I am, you're not going to have any problem. But you're going to see it happening a long time. You're going to see the people in this room and people outside of this room are going to be losing their jobs to people that have come into this country illegally.
Mr. President, can we stay with just kind of the state of the race right now? Because I felt like that vice president question, candidate question was right in there with that. So let's talk about J.D. Vance for a little bit. He's had some stumbles out of the gate. I don't know if you're hearing what we hear as reporters, but it's been a tough couple of weeks for him. Why did you choose J.D. Vance? Why did you choose him? And I'm having a hard time hearing, too. I know everybody out there can, but it's hard to hear.
I'll tell you why. I chose him because he's a very strong believer in work and the working man and woman, and especially the working man and woman who have been treated very unfairly, because you have many of them in this room. But you have many of those people, they were treated very unfairly. They worked very hard and they were treated unfairly. He wrote the book that became a bestseller. The movie became a smash hit. He's a very smart guy without the benefit of having a family that has contacts, like a father that was well connected. He got into Yale Law School. He graduated in 2 years from Ohio State, summa cum laude. I mean, you take a look at, his career has been an amazing career. He started off at a level with a difficult family situation, very difficult with the mother and the father and everything else. He ends up going to Yale Law School, was one of the top students, became the head of the Law Journal. I mean, that's an amazing thing. He's a 4-year, he was in the military with great distinction for 4 years, got out, went into business, became successful in business, very successful in business, actually. Did public offerings and other things. And I have to believe in that. I mean, he's somebody that was born in a rough situation. Most of the people know that situation because it was very well documented in his book. And I have a lot of respect for somebody that can get into Yale and become one of the best students in Yale, that meets a young woman at Yale who was also outstanding, and they get married, they have a beautiful family. But he had he's made himself an amazing life. He then goes to Ohio, lives in Ohio, and he had my endorsement. That helped. But he wins the Senate. He becomes a United States Senator. So he's a United States Senator. And so, Harris, like I respect you for your success, I respect people for their success.
The reason I asked the question is because the last time you and I sat and talked was the day that you were shot. We'd been together for much of that day. You left to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, and we didn't know what was next.
Now we getting heavy on
And 2 days after that,
I cannot understand your microphone.
I know it is really hard for me to understand
it's just
you too.
I can understand you perfectly.
Because she's closer.
I can understand you,
I'm happy to hear that, sir.
but I can't
Really
understand.
I know, right?
I have a few more questions.
I'm glad
Because
that
of the
you can hear
distance,
me.
and the mics are really in lousy shape, but I cannot understand
Are you asking a question?
what you're saying.
So what I wanted to say was the last time we spoke, you said some words that were prophetic because I asked you who you wanted to choose for vice president.
Yeah.
And you said normally it really wouldn't matter what they would bring. You choose somebody that you think has a future, that sort of thing. But you said these words 3.5 hours before an attempted assassination on your life. You told me that bad things happen, Harris. And that's why this decision is important this time. Bad things happen. You said it twice. When you look at J.D. Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But I will say this, and I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact. You have 2 or 3 days where there's a lot of commotion as to who, like you're having it on the Democrat side, who it's going to be. And then that dies down, and it's all about the presidential pick. Virtually never has it mattered. Maybe Lyndon Johnson mattered for different reasons of what we're talking about, not for vote reasons, but for political reasons, other political reasons. But historically, the choice of a vice president makes no difference. You're voting for the president, and you can have a vice president who's outstanding in every way, and I think J.D. is. I think that all of them would have been. But you're not voting that way. You're voting for the president. You're voting for me. If you like me, I'm going to win. If you don't like me, I'm not going to win.
I'm going to get my J.D. Vance question in.
J.D. Vance?
I'm going to get my J.D. Vance question in. To your point and to Rachel's point, he, has a lot of opinions about childless women like myself or divorced people like yourself. Do you think, well, I mean, my point is here.
But at least it was said in a friendly manner.
My point is, do you think the Republican Party is getting a little bit too judgy about people's lives when you think about abortion or when you think about what J.D. Vance is saying?
I don't think, look, I think that the Democrat Party is really the one that has the problem. I think they're radical on abortion because they're allowing abortion in the 9th month. They're allowing the
But I
death.
think it's
They're
about
allowing
freedom,
the death
right?
of a baby after the baby is born, based on
Sir,
the
that's
governor of
shut up.
Virginia.
Why y'all don't be
Based
bringing them
Based on the
facts when
governor
y'all
of
say
Virginia,
that?
they're
Why y'all don't be bringing them facts, Trump? Go ahead and let us know which case and what situation it was where a person had an abortion in the 9th month, and it wasn't due to some life or death type of situation. That's what I would like to know. Like, and then what is that large number? What is that percentage range of those ladies doing that in the quote unquote 9th month?
allowing the
Every
death
state
of the
in the country
baby
is illegal.
after it's born.
It's a
They're allowing
crime.
abortions in the 8th and 9th month.
Well,
of
Democrats
pregnancy.
have denied
I think they're right.
that.
And I
That's
think
the
the
thing.
Republican Party is actually much less. I think I've made them much less radical, perhaps. But the Republican Party, what we're doing is bringing it back to the states where everybody wanted it. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservative, everybody wanted abortion.
So they
brought
can
back. They
control
didn't
it.
want Roe v. Wade in the federal government. They wanted it. Everybody
But the
wanted
majority
it
of
back.
Americans oppose
Excuse
Roe
me.
v. Wade being
They
overturned.
don't
Multiple
know
polls have
about
showed that,
this.
sir.
Right now, they're voting. It brought it back to the states. Now, I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Ronald Reagan believed with rape, incest, life of the mother. I do. I think most people do. I think most Republicans do also. But if you take a look, right now they're doing.
Hold up, they believe
it's an
what?
amazing.
What
In
did
fact, they didn't want Roe v. Wade in the federal government. They wanted it. Everybody
But the
wanted
majority
it
of
back.
Americans oppose
Excuse
Roe
me.
v. Wade being
They-
overturned.
They
Multiple
don't know
polls have
about
showed that,
this.
sir.
Right now, they're voting. It brought it back to the states. Now, I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Ronald Reagan believed with rape,
there are exceptions.
incest, life of the mother. I do. I think most people do. I think most Republicans do also. But if you take a look, right now they're doing, it's an amazing thing. Out of the federal government, it's in states, and people are voting. And I will say, Ohio is, let's call it a more liberal version, has been approved. Kansas, the same thing, a little bit surprising to a lot of people. But the people are now voting. And it's taking this issue that's been going on for 52 years and has torn our country apart, and it's giving it to the people to vote on. And they're voting. And many states have already voted. Others are in the process of voting. And it's bringing it back to the people and a vote of the people. And it's not at all radical. And again, you have to follow your heart. I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Most people believe in the 3 exceptions. Most Republicans believe in the exceptions. But they don't want to see an abortion in the 9th month or the 8th month. Almost everybody agrees to that. And they certainly don't want to see, in the case of the governor of Virginia, the former governor, I might add, who said, we set the baby aside and then we decide what to do. Meaning, what do? We execute the baby. That's a radical, horrible position. And some people want that. I don't want it. Most people don't.
Thank you. Can I just pivot really quickly to another question about, you brought up health, Harris. You're an active man. We see you golfing all the time. But if you win, you'll still be president at 82, which is older than Biden is right now.
But not mentally. Look, mentally.
We don't know where we'll be in the next few years, sir. We don't know. I'm sure Biden wasn't expecting to be where he is. Let me tell y'all, when they be taking on these presidential, y'all see they age tremendously. And then when they come out of it, they be a little better sometimes. I think Obama probably like better. I think he definitely aged up in there. I think he looking better now. But Biden aged like a bitch for sure. So you don't know what's going to be going on.
But most people,
would you
most people, I know many people in their 80s and their 90s that are in great shape. Some of our greatest leaders. You look at throughout the world history, the greatest leaders, some of the greatest leaders in the world were in their 80s.
But here's the question. Would you consider stepping down if you felt that your health was declining? Or would you?
Oh, absolutely.
And who would?
I think I'd know.
How would you make that decision?
I think I'd know. Look, if I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman treated
Oh my goodness.
me,
Ooh, here he go.
And I'm fine with it because she.
You can't be. You done mentioned it 5 damn times.
Very rude. That was a nasty. That wasn't a question. She
Sir,
didn't
you
ask
can
me a
answer the
question.
question.
She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
I repeated
You
your
can answer the
statement, sir,
question.
actually.
You said you would. You would
Oh,
make that
absolutely.
decision
If
to
I
step
thought
down.
that I was failing in some way, I want people to be sharp. I'll go a step further. I want anybody running for president to take an aptitude test, to take a cognitive test. I think it's a great idea. And I took 2 of them and I aced them.
Well, can I
got
just-
'em. I took 2 of them. But let me ask you.
Yeah.
I would like to have people running for president, and I don't mean because they're 75 or 85. I think anybody running, I'd like to do it. People say it's not constitutional. I would like to have something passed where you can do it. I think we should know. I mean, I've watched what's happened in the last couple of years under this gentleman, and our country is a mess. We have inflation. We have the millions of people falling in.
He can't
We have
attack Kamala,
Afghanistan,
so
which
he's
was
still
the
attacking Joe.
worst, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. What he has done to our country, and her too, what they've done to our country, she has been a horrible vice president. She's considered the worst vice president in the history of our country.
Mr.
Don't mean to
President-
interrupt you, but would you consider taking the cognitive test
Mr. President.
I would love to
and
do
make
it.
it public?
Well, I've already taken 2 of them, but I'll do it again.
Mr.
I
Sir,
Sir, you
suggest-
won't even
How do you
release your
intend-
taxes.
I
anyway.
suggested, Harris,
you're not going to release that, baby.
let's take one. I said, Joe and I will go and take a cognitive test. Now, I'd do it with her, too.
Oh, would you?
I would do it with her also. You know what? She failed her law exam. She didn't pass her law exam, so maybe she wouldn't pass the cognitive
I don't give
test.
a fuck about a law exam that she did not pass when she still has her Juris Doctorate. What are we? Girl, hurry up and be honest.
Mr.
Are you
President.
saying she wouldn't pass? Just
And
to
can I also say, this is so sad. Like, he's doing so terrible in this interview, in my opinion. The Republicans have honestly been shooken the fuck up with Miss Kamala coming to the front. And the sad part, y'all, if he were to get into office, I hate to say it, but I would not be surprised. Because I feel like when he ran the last time, it was a lot of people, oh, I'm not voting for Trump, I'm not voting for Trump, I'm not voting for Trump, da 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 da. And then next thing you know, y'all motherfuckers did. And then I feel like listening to him talk and how rebellious he is, I feel like people be liking that. And y'all shouldn't like that when it comes to like our lives and stuff. But I feel like they be liking that. And they may not take it as serious and they may just vote for him because of that. Oh, he took a bullet. Oh, he got shot, so I'm going to vote for him. He still stood up and gave us the fist and this, that, and the other. Okay? But y'all be liking it. I mean, and I'm saying that because I'm also thinking about just look at the people that folks have like propped up, people that have been often like rebellious and crazy. And this has nothing to do with politics, but I'm putting them in the same realm in a sense, like Bad Baby. Like, she's always been problematic. How did y'all even award her to get the success that she got to this point? Blueface and damn Krishan. How did y'all even award these people to get to where the hell they at now? You know what I'm saying? So hopefully the people, when he got in the first time, they're not in the same age as they were then. They don't have the same mindset. So I would hope their families may have expanded peripherally or maybe even decreased. Hopefully a lot of factors come into play when it comes to making that decision when they get to the polls. But yeah, child, girl.
I'm just giving you the facts.
To be clear, you don't think
I'm
Harris
just
How do you
giving the
intend,
facts.
and
She didn't
look,
pass her bar exam, and
Sir,
she didn't think she would
that
pass
is
it, and she didn't
so
think she was going to ever
common.
pass it. And
What law school do you have? What do you have under your belt? Okay, because it is giving privilege. All you're doing is highlighting her perseverance. That's what you're doing. All you're doing is highlighting how she kept going after what it is that she wanted and she obtained it. What about you is what I'm trying to find out. Because how did you get to where you're getting? You're trying to discredit her as a prosecutor is what you're trying to do, but she already has her accolades to certify her for who and what the fuck she is. So much so she's the vice president. So like that lady told y'all the other day or earlier today, put some respect on that lady's name. Okay? You, sir, are the one that is not qualified. Somehow the people still put you in office. And I feel like what that man said, what Van Jones said at that time, he said this was a white lashing or something that he said when Trump got in office the first time. And I feel like that was them rebelling, right? Doing what they do because we had got Obama in office for them 2 years. So that's why I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if I would pray not. But you just can never tell.
I don't know what happened. Maybe she passed it.
She did pass it.
There's a man over here. I think he must work.
So now you don't know what happened? So then why are you giving out fake news? Why are you giving out fake news?
President, I would love to ask you about January 6th. You've called yourself the candidate of law and order. Yeah. When Time Magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely. Sure. You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Their injuries included broken bones. At least one officer lost an eye. Ooh. One had 2 cracked ribs, 2 smashed spinal discs. Another had a stroke. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, let me bring it back to modern day. Like about 5 days ago, we had an attack on the Capitol. Horrible attack on the Capitol. You saw the people that were protesting and spraying these incredible monuments, bells, lions, all these magnificent limestone and granite with red paint, red spray paint that will never actually come off, especially in the limestone. It will never, I'm a builder, I know about this stuff. It'll never, you'll see it in 100 years from now. They viciously attacked our government. They fought with police. They fought with them much more openly than I saw on January 6th. What's going to happen to those people? What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed that city?
But sir, my question is on those.
What's going to happen to the people that tried to
those rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon
what's
those
going to
people?
Happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just well, they were convicted by a very tough system. How come the people that tried to burn down Minneapolis, how come the people that took over a large percentage of Seattle, how come nothing happened to them? How come the people
sir, we're talking about people that were seen
no,
beating officers with flagpoles, dragging them down the stairs. They're on video. Have you seen that video, sir?
Oh, really? Well,
you would pardon those rioters?
They shot a young lady in the face.
You will pardon those people after they violated the very officers that you will give immunity to? Because didn't you say we need people to protect us? Yikes.
Was protesting. They shot her.
You
know, nobody died that day. You do know that. But people died in Seattle. Nobody died, but people died in Minneapolis. You know people died in Minneapolis. And nothing happens, and nobody ever talks, and nothing happens to those people. But you went after the J6 people with a vengeance. And I'll tell you what about the cops that were, and I'm all for the police, as you know, but what about the police that are ushering everybody into the Capitol? Go in, go in, go in. What about that? Look, nothing is perfect.
What is he talking about? What is he talking about? He said, what about those officers that were ushering people? And I'm all for the police, but what about those officers? I'm so confused. Like, what is you talking about? And it's really not even funny. Because you will pardon them and you want to call the officers out for ushering people into a building, but you're struggling with admitting the fact that the officer that murdered Sonia Massey was wrong and should get exactly what he's gotten, which is being charged with murder? Girl, this motherfucker and his followers are delusional. Weirdos for sure.
Life. But you have people from Minneapolis, you have people just from 5 days ago in Washington, D.C. They were having fistfights and fighting with the police. They were spraying and destroying, they were desecrating our monuments in Washington, D.C. 5 days ago, and nothing happened to them. And you can't have two systems of justice.
See, what he's doing now is trying to make it as though this is a Biden problem and a Biden administration, which will also include Kamala Harris. He's trying to make it their problem. Like, we just had this the other day. Nobody did anything. And basically this fell under their watch and they did nothing, right? But then you're not really acknowledging those. You would pardon those people and you're making excuses. That's not, And you know what? I'm also thinking, like, Kamala probably somewhere sitting back, like, I don't even need to debate him. Like, why would I need to? I don't need to do that. she will do it, period. Okay, but she's probably like, he's effing himself right now just off of this. But the crazy thing is, as I've seen on Twitter, and we know Twitter is only a small part of the world, right? But over on the Twitter, they still figure out ways to justify everything that he does. I'm gonna let y'all do y'all thing though.
That's why they went after me as a political opponent, because they felt they couldn't win without doing that. And we're going to win our cases and we're going to be vindicated. But I have to spend a lot of time on that and money. That's what they want. After the election, they won't care. Although in my case, I think they probably will, because the hatred is pretty deep. But I'll tell you, they went after me as a political opponent. That's never happened in our country before. And it sets a terrible, terrible precedent.
I disagree. What do you mean they went after you? Let me go back just a little bit.
Well, just from 5 days ago in Washington, D.C., they were having fistfights and fighting with the police. They were spraying and destroying. They were desecrating our monuments in Washington, D.C. 5 days ago, and nothing happened to them. And you can't have two systems of justice. That's why they went after me as a political opponent, because they felt they couldn't win without doing that.
What? They couldn't win without. Are you talking about the transition from Biden to Harris, and you feel like they went after you as a political opponent? Am I misunderstanding him? Because also you are the opponent. Y'all have been trying to come after Kamala. You've been coming after Biden. Biden's coming after you. I'm a little confused. And then you said it hasn't happened to nobody in what he said, presidency.
We're going to win our cases and we're going to be vindicated. But I have to spend a lot of time on that and money. That's what they want.
Okay, so he's talking about
after the election. They won't care. Although in my case, I think they probably will, because the hatred is pretty deep. But I'll tell you, they went after me as a political opponent. That's never happened in our country before.
Didn't they go after you before you were an opponent, though? Before you even entered, they were already on your heels and your nutsack. I'm a little confused. They've been doing that. And then you saying that it's never happened, but then I could have sworn, like, didn't something go down with Bill Clinton? And he got caught up in that situation and they was on his head top. Didn't he get impeached for whatever he was over there doing with Monica Lewinsky? Like, I'm confusion for you to think that you're the only person that they've been like, come on, sir.
And it sets a terrible, terrible precedent.
What do you do on day one if you win? What's your first thing?
What do? I close the border. And I do two things, because I can do a lot of things simultaneously. I close the border. We don't want people coming.
Shut the hell up. You couldn't even do the wall. And then when Kamala got up there talking about some damn tunnels, I said, "Bitch, what? Tunnels? Did you say tunnel? You went down to the tunnels? Like, girl, we got tunnels? I ain't even, what?" Now, I would hear people say stuff like that, in relation to other things. But I'm like, girl, really? Tunnels? Girl, no, bitch. That's what it's giving. You got a whole lot more to worry about. Talking about what you gonna do on the first day. You couldn't even get a lot of stuff done in your first term while you over here talking, child.
We want people to come in, Harris, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. They have to come in legally. I want people to come into our country, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. So when you say, what do I do? That, and I drill, baby, drill. I bring energy way down. I bring interest rates down. I bring inflation way down so people can buy bacon again, so people can buy a ham sandwich again, so that people can go to a restaurant and afford it. Because right now, people can't buy food. Your grocery bills are up 40, 50, 60%, right? She's agreeing to me. Oh, she's agreeing. Thank you. I like you very much.
Mr. President, I think we are.
But it's true. Your grocery bills are up. And then they're mandating that you buy an all-electric car. You know, Elon Musk endorsed me, and he's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy.
He also came back saying he ain't giving you no money every month.
Everybody having an electric car.
I don't know what's true.
Okay, I'm very much against that. You have to be able to, if you want a hybrid or if you want a gasoline-propelled car. But, we have more liquid gold, gasoline, oil, under our feet than any other country. More than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than any other country. I want to use it. I want to use what we have. I want to bring down prices, bring down costs, and I also have to stop the invasion. And remember, they're taking your jobs. These people coming in are taking your jobs.
Project 2025.
I think we have to leave it there by the Trump team.
All right.
So leave it. That is the last word. Thank you so much,
Baby,
Mr.
he's so
Trump,
glad to
for
get the hell up out of
coming
there
today and joining us.
They was gonna ask that.
Well, thank you very much.
They've been telling us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, very much. Great honor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Girl, what the was that? That was terrible. That was terrible. But listen, Miss Ma'am in the Red was definitely trying to throw him all kind of bones, though, I feel. Okay? I don't know if Miss Ma'am is trying to be Republican, and I don't know if that's her stance or not, but she definitely seemed like she was trying to, like, you know, show the other girls, like, let me show you how to interview real quick. Let me show you how to ask these questions. Let me set it up right so he know how to answer the questions. Was there anything else that I wanted to get into regarding this? Okay, they got all kind of stories going on. Did y'all hear his nephew come out? Trump's nephew did a interview, and he talked about how, I think he was working with Trump the first term, and he had said that he was supposed to be, I guess, working with like the like trying to get some resources for disabled people or special needs or whatnot. And he told that man that his son he might well pull the plug on him in so many words. Say that boy he don't remember you. Just go ahead and kill him. Just go ahead and let him die. That's not nice. You don't say that to your nephew. Okay? You don't say that to your nephew. Nephew joined that campaign, though, thought he was finna get something out of it and didn't get nothing but Trump's ass to kiss. Hello? I did find the clip. All right. I don't know if this is the full thing because I saw it on somebody's YouTube channel. So I'm going to see what this one is saying, though.
I believe in policy over politics.
Yeah.
And without question, Kamala Harris's policies are what I get behind. So I will be voting for Kamala Harris. And if I'm asked, I will campaign for her without hesitation.
Good. And if
I believe in policy over...
This isn't the one, but he did talk about it in another interview where he said Trump told him pretty much like, matter of fact, I'm just going to find the YouTuber's channel and I'm going to play it for y'all because he had a few clips that I was trying to check out last night. Let me see. Because, girl, that was some crazy shit there. I said, no, he didn't tell you that, honey. No, he didn't say it like that. Okay, which one is it? Is it this one? I don't know. We might have to click through a few videos because I'm not sure exactly which one it is. I think it's this one, though. I think it's this one. Let's see. Let me scan and find the clip. All right. I'm not seeing it on that one. Give me 1 second, y'all. Where is it? Which one is it? Okay, I think this is it. This is it right here. Okay, perfect. Shout out to this guy. Y'all may already like watch his content and stuff. I'm not sure, but he is. I really like it. So let me get him back up on screen. Brian Taylor Cohen.
His own nephew, Fred Trump, appeared on The View, and here's what he had to say.
I believe in policy over politics.
Yeah.
And without question, Kamala Harris's policies are what I get behind. So I will be voting for Kamala Harris. And if I'm asked, I will campaign for her without hesitation.
Good.
And of course, this comes in the immediate aftermath of Fred Trump sitting down with ABC News to explain some background on why he ultimately refused to endorse his own uncle.
After his uncle was elected president, Fred Trump says he saw an opportunity to advocate for the disabled.
I was in the Oval Office 12 times, and that was our mission, to advocate for people with complex disabilities. It culminated in May of 2020 in the Oval Office. Donald was there, and he was very gracious. Several other folks were there, including the group that we brought down. We dispersed. I was asked to go back and see Donald. He greeted me with his familiar, "Hey, pal, how's it going?" We sat down for a bit, and he just came out with, these people, all the expenses, they should just die. He's talking about human beings who have complex issues, and the first thing he could say was, they should just die.
Fred claims this wasn't isolated, describing a phone call to alert his uncle the medical fund set up by the family for his son William was running low, a fund he says the former president consistently replenished.
A couple of years ago, I called him. I said, Donald, the fund's running out. And without hesitation, he said, your son doesn't recognize you. Let him die and move to Florida.
Were you surprised?
It's a great question. My response was, no, Donald, he does recognize me, and said, "I'll thanks," and hung up. Was I surprised? I don't think you could hear something like that and not be surprised. But that is what he has become. It's sad.
And look,
Boom. Okay, so y'all have to hop over there to his channel if y'all want to see it in its entirety, child. But that man is a mess, honey. That man is a mess. No, ma'am, Toucan Sam. He is a mess. Well, listen, I wanted to come to y'all real quick so we can watch it together. I'm sure this will not be our last conversation regarding everything that has been going on. I do have to go ahead and head out, but I thank you guys so much for being here. You can continue the conversations down below. Let's be as respectful as we can, honey. All right. We already know we aren't going to always agree. Okay. We have two different sides. Some people doing this, some people doing that, but the conversations can be had, respectfully. So you guys can continue that down below in the comment section. I am Jami, that's me. You're welcome to follow me over on Instagram and on Twitter at JamiThatsMe. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but you run no corner. Packing the stick with a drum.